Aloha, this is Sean. Uh, this morning, sorry, no music. This is just my thoughts. Um, I have been given an inspiration to um, start a change in our education system. Um, and where that inspiration came from um, is from 23 years of experience teaching special education. So I've been in education for 23 years. I started off as a paraprofessional or educational assistant. I've taught at many levels, at high school, elementary. I was a support person at the school level as a student service coordinator for a few years. And I've been working at the district level, supporting all schools, and Leeward District and now Windward District. I've worked in many schools, having experience working with 5 high schools, 6 middle schools, and maybe 30 elementary schools, maybe more. So I don't know, I can't count all those elementary schools, but in my first 21 years, when I was on the west side of Oahu, um, I've always been always um, had pride in problem solving, having picked up skills and learned skills from a very young age from my grandfathers and my grandmothers. If you know my story, I was born to a single parent. I would have been considered homeless by today's McKinney-Vento standards because my mom, she left her biological parents' home and moved about place to place and was taken in with his family in Waianae, who I call my family, even though we are not blood related. But they raised me like their own. And, I had this past 2 years to really slow down and think and problem solve and try to reflect on things that are being done in our schools and how trainings are being rolled out to teachers. And I am very observant, and I take notes and kind of always looking to do things better. Um, Before moving on to the Windward side, I worked at Leeward District for maybe 11, 12 years, and it was pretty busy. I mean, it's the biggest district in the state. There's due processes and a lot of schools, and we have one of two of the most populated schools, high school, um, in the state. And I was just busy. We were practically almost putting out fires every single day, and I was kind of getting exhausted. But things happened for a reason, and I got married and moved to an area where everything slowed down for me. I was, and the way I came about in this position I have today, I feel I was blessed because in the move to Windward, I was supposed to go into the classroom, but the district personnel on this side found out I'm moving over, and they asked me to work for them. So I graciously accepted, and it's a godsend because I am passionate about what I'm doing right now, and I am trying to affect a change and in how things are being done. Because when I came over, um, I tend to be quiet and listen. Okay, so that's one skill that I picked up from a very young age. My grandparents, my uncles and aunties said, be quiet and just listen and watch, learn. So I tend to do that when I go into new areas, and I did that my first year in this new area, Kahuku. So, I'm quiet. I'm getting to learn people. I'm getting to learn what the processes were, and how things are really run. But come to find out, this site is actually way behind from where Leeward is. And I made that known. I was like, "Wow, you guys not doing things that we did in Leeward," and it's like, why? So I'm kind of finding out why. But beside that point, you know, there's a urgency for our children to pick up a certain skill that I remember when I was in school was being taught. But as I see, because now the focus is more on reading, writing, and math and standard scores, and college entrance, that emphasis of going that route, I think, and in my own opinion, okay, and it may be different from school to school, but as a whole, in my whole experience, I see this one skill is lacking. And in my search this past two years, I was trying to figure out, why, what has to change, or how can I help teachers help students? Because the two statistics that really glaring is there is a rise in teen suicide, and there is a rise in teen dropout. Okay, oh, three glaring areas. There is a rise in students and adults on anxiety medication. You know what that tell me? Yeah, these people or these students are not prepared to handle what life throws at them. They're not ready to handle the adversity and the hardship of life. They don't know how to problem solve. So in my search and in my prayers, my daily prayer, um, I felt led to where I am today, so I can slow down and I can problem solve, which is I'm pretty good at because my cousins and my family, those of you who play games with me, know that are pretty. Yeah, you guys don't like play with me anymore. Yeah, that's why sometimes I don't know. I like playing games, but even my wife now, I gotta give her a chance because she said, no, you gotta put one hand behind your back and close one eye, and then you can play. And then we have this game called Nerds, and I count before I move my cards because it's a card game. I count to four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then because if I play just normal, by the blink of eye, I'm gonna always win. So I'm not bragging, but then I'm not bragging, but I take pride in trying to solve problems. And in the past years, I've gone to conferences to further my skill with problem solving. We attended a conference in San Francisco for a Go book, and that conference was called Design Implementation. How to solve complex problems. That's one skill. Through the years, since from a very young age, I've learned how to problem solve, and that skill evolved, to get faster and faster. But anyway, what I see as I sit in these teams of planning, IEP meetings, sitting with administrators, just looking at what's being rolled out to schools, what is being placed on schools is more helping schools be management and not really helping the teachers be relational to students and parents, but also helping kids become leaders and problem solvers. And so this past few weeks, I've come to know this one school that I have um, been not moved, but then there's a situation where I was at one school as my home base, and then something happened where I was able to move to another school, and I moved to this school to find out that the program that they've been using for the past 3 years is something I'm looking for. So I'm not selling this book, but then this is what I want to share. It's called The Leader in Me. Okay, and in my screen it looks backwards, but hopefully for you it looks normal. So this book is called The Leader in Me, and it's written by Stephen Covey. So some of you who read some of his books, he has some marvelous books that I actually started accumulating and reading. So Stephen Covey wrote The 7 Habits of a Successful Person. He has so much other books written by his sons. 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens. Okay, because I brought this for my daughter and my son. I'm gonna have them read this. 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. Okay, so using the same principles. And what's amazing is that most of these principles, I think, if not all, have been taught to me by my grandparents. So I've been practicing these principles, come to find out from a very young age. And I'm like, these kids nowadays don't are not being brought up with these principles. But the amazing thing is that I get to now witness and see how this program has been run for 3 years, or 4 years. I'm still, learning about the school. And from what the principal in my conversation with the principal is, she is really, really a believer in this, and I am a believer in it because I see it in myself from what I was taught from a very young age. Because as I read this, I'm realizing that, you know, grandpa told me this. Grandma told me this. My other grandpa told me this. I was like, wow, I was already brought up in an environment being taught these principles. And if these kids nowadays, I mean, I have to admit, um, I wasn't as knowledgeable or, aware of raising my kids on these principles. And it was hard being married not to the right person. I think I'm married to the right person now, that if I had kids now, they would be brought up on these principles. But we all start off in life in a disadvantage. But then we find ourselves, because it's not really how we start, it's how we end, right? You always hear that in a lot of uh, motivational speeches. But anyway, so I am taking on this uh, charge, per se, to affect change in how we do things in the education system. As top heavy bureaucratic as it is, I've already got the ball rolling. So I'm doing it from my district, first starting in my department, and then I'm slowly working teacher by teacher, because I'm meeting some resistance, and the principal, she's on board. She feels that every school needs this, because this is the missing piece to helping kids gain the motivation to learn. And if we build this mentality of having them think with a leader's mindset, they can face life and gain the skills to not just problem solve in school, but problem solve in after school, in world. So if you're a parent, I would advise you, or I recommend you just pick up a Stephen Covey book and just read it for yourself. Just read it for yourself to gain knowledge, because I'm a godly person. I love my God, and He values knowledge, because you have to friend knowledge to gain wisdom. So just pick it up, read it for yourself. It will do wonders for you as a parent. And um, in the meantime, there is books written by Stephen Covey and um, Franklin Covey um, Publishers, I think it's called. They even wrote it to the level of children. So there are books like that, and the earlier you can get your kids started on learning these principles and having that mindset of a leader, the better off they'll be in the long run. To where it is my hope that their the numbers for teen suicide, teen dropouts, and teens on medication will go down and decrease. The more that we instill these 7 habits into these kids. I am now planning to work on my kids to help them instill these 7 habits. It's not too late. Use an adult, you may have some of these habits already, but just didn't know, that this is a more understandable way to relate to good behavior. And if you're an administrator or a teacher, I advise you to get the book too. Get this book. Get this book. Read it. Okay, read it, because it will help you in your classroom. And if you get children if you're teaching kids who kind of have small kind of behavior problem, this thing, if you use some of the strategies in there, could help. It will. So it is my vision to help other schools, other teachers. But I'm just me, and I just gonna take it one day at a time, one moment at a time. And one person at a time, you know, because that's how it starts. And the more people will see this, so in our education, when we're pushing reading, writing, and math, we're lacking in a well-rounded education. You know, we gotta bring back vocational school. We gotta hit every kid's interest and not just reading, writing, and math. We're giving our kids a disadvantage big time, and the numbers are showing it. You know, when the kids have high anxiety and can't deal with problems, school problems, okay? That let alone, that's only, school is supposed to be the protected place so that they can practice socializing and learning from each other, right? But when they go out in the road, then what? They get into drugs, they don't know how to handle pressure, they so take their life or try to take their life, or they end up in jail, you know? And I like those numbers go down. So this is why I'm doing this video. And I think this is really passionate. I'm really passionate about this. Like I said, the ball is rolling, and I hope you can join. And then let's start a conversation. Let's start a conversation because I'm also in communication with the company with the Franklin Covey company. I think they're to see how together how we can help Hawaii, help people understand that we need to start generating leaders in our children so that they can be the problem solvers of tomorrow, right? So come join me. I'll post updates on the inner workings, but this is a challenge to my friends, my families, my people in education, to just take a look at it. Now, if anything, just take a look at it, pick up the book if you can, and just read for yourself, okay? So you can make an educated decision, an educated, informed decision. Because if it's anything, it's a personal development tool. Yeah, because I'm already working with teachers on helping them become personally developed as well as professionally developed. Because change start from the inside of us. Yeah, we have to change the way we think, the way we act in ourselves first before we can help other people and help our students. So let's do this. If you get a good hashtag for this comment, this mission, hashtag change education, hashtag reform education, hashtag the leader in me, whatever, so that's what I had this morning. And it's this video, actually the last thing I'm gonna say is that the reason why I'm doing this video is I'm actually thinking of writing a book. And this video helps me clarify my thinking. And if you saw my previous videos, writing is not really a great standpoint for me, because sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting, and more so my hand cannot move as fast as my thoughts does. Yeah, because when I think and I write, sometimes I miss some thoughts. So when I'm doing these videos, it's just free flowing, and whatever is on my mind comes out. So then I can take a look back at it and review, and then put it in a book, The Memoirs of Sean, or Chronicles of Sean. But anyway, if you like this video, if you want to bring awareness to other people who may need it, who have struggled with their children, who are teachers struggling with their classrooms and classroom management, and behavior and motivation, this book could help you. So I hope that helps you, and share this, okay? So this is Sean. It's February 2nd, 3 a.m. in the morning, as usual. May the peace be with you, and may peace be on you. Have a great day. Aloha.